Well, forget about us becoming a nanny state. I hate to break it to you, my friends. We are already there, which could have been among the factors weighing on the Dow today, careening better than 142 points. It's Monday. It's bad again. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. And just how generous is our government? Tries so generous that 1 in 6 Americans is now on the federal dole in one way, shape, or form. That is more than 50 million Americans, and it is climbing and fast, thanks to billions in stimulus to get jobs and billions in benefits to those who do not have jobs in a country where nearly half don't pay any taxes. Add it up, and is it any wonder the red ink is piling up, and so too at the corner wall and Broad? Not because of battles we are fighting over there, but benefits we are handing out willy-nilly here, which brings us to this chart. See that gold band at the top of each bar? That is spending on the Iraq war. The red represents overall deficit spending, which has exploded in just the last 2 years. Wars aren't doing it. Tax cuts aren't doing it. Just plain old domestic spending. That is what's doing it. So, Alan Simpson's crazy for just saying it, that we become a nation of teat suckers, many of whom just expect it. The Cato Institute's Dan Mitchell on why Alan's dead center right to worry about it and us. Dan, I mean, those are startling numbers in a government that can ill afford all that spending.
Yeah, a lot of people in Washington are acting all upset that Alan Simpson was a little bit colloquial in the way he was phrasing things. We should be focusing on the underlying truth of his comment that if we create a country filled with dependence, if we make it more attractive for people to mooch off the government instead of leading productive lives, what is that going to do to our economy, much less what will it do to our national character?
Now, you know, we had a big sell-off on Wall Street, the corner of Will and Broad. We'll take a peek at the big board, what happened today. But among some of the expressed concerns is we're not getting out of our way fast enough here. And whatever short-lived happiness we had on Friday is being met with the reality that whenever we face sort of an economic morass, we just keep spending into it, don't we?
That's the problem that we've seen under both Bush and Obama. Bush had, what, a $300 billion stimulus in 2008? Did that stimulate? No. Then Obama comes in with an $800 billion so-called stimulus in 2009, and then we're just spending money left and right for government-run health care and all sorts of other government programs. It hasn't worked in Greece. It hasn't worked in France. It hasn't worked in any country it's ever been tried, but it's good for one thing. Politicians get to go to voters and say, look what I gave you. And if we wind up, as I said before, with that as our modus operandi as a country, we're going to have exactly the same problems they have in Europe.
You know, Dan, I know you don't have the freedom to see this on a monitor, but Pam, if we can just show these bars here. I kind of like bars of all sorts, the bar charts and the bars themselves. But looking at this, it's enough to make you run to a bar here, because what it's showing you, Dan, and you've schooled me very well on this, is the fact of the matter is, take the war in or out of the equation, we're still spending a lot more than we should be. And these type of external issues, and leaving nothing aside of the merit of the good fight on terror abroad, it is just a spit in the ocean in our fight on spending, isn't it?
The numbers that I always like to cite to people, go to the OMB website, look at the historical tables of the budget. In 2000, when Bill Clinton left office, and he wasn't exactly a piker when it came to government spending, the federal government budget consumed 18% of GDP. Look at where we are right now, 25% of GDP. Look what share Iraq is. And I'm no big fan of nation building in Iraq, right, but Iraq is not even 1 percentage point of GDP. This is all big government domestic spending, beginning with no bureaucrat left behind under Bush and continuing through government-run health care under Obama.
And you're right, Dan. We wanted to put this.
Ds.
You're right, Dan. We only put this up here just to say, all right, if you wanted to go ahead and put Iraq on budget, and by the way, something we advocated throughout the war when President Bush was president, go ahead and put it on budget. People in the early days would have understood the urgency of the matter, and even in its more controversial latter days of Bush administration, would have whined about it, but still would have appreciated the fact that it was on budget. So this is, if you throw it on budget, this is the reality you're facing. Now the reality is, in this domestic spending environment, a president back from vacation today saying new initiatives are being considered, i.e. new spending being considered. What do you think the fallout for that will be?
Well, this is almost a political question, and I almost almost feel sorry for Obama and Reid and Pelosi, because everything they've done sort of has this reverse Midas touch. Instead of turning into gold, it's turning into ashes. And that's, of course, exactly they're getting what they deserve, because it's never worked before. It's never going to work in the future. The whole Keynesian free lunch economics mentality is leading us down a path to fiscal ruin. And it's not that it's giving us deficits. Deficits are just the symptom. The underlying disease is government spending. Even if we had $1 trillion of revenue float down from heaven, government is still too big.
But what about the argument it would be a lot worse without all that spending?
I have a hard time seeing how that's the case. David Brooks of the New York Times had a pretty good column recently where he compared Germany, which is not exactly a small government libertarian state. He compared Germany, which did not go down the Keynesian path, and he compared it to the United States, which under Bush and Obama did all these failed stimulus. Germany is back to their pre-recession unemployment rate, and they're, comparatively speaking, I mean, well, 2.5% growth is nothing to cheer about, but it's a lot better than what we're getting under the Obama policies.
All good points. Dan, thank you very much.